It's been quite a long journey. It was quite a long journey to get to yoga. I was born in Ohio in the beginning around 1960, prior to the hippie generation. So it was a long ways culturally and ideologically from Eastern religion or the practice of it. We were Protestants at that time. There, we went to church on Sundays, and I was always a very analytical and kind of curious child, always into learning and self-development. Maybe I was born with it, or perhaps it was due to my parents. My father was a strong adherent of common sense and rationality, although frequently skeptical also about new things. Uh, my mother was always into learning and open to new things. And in those days, we went to Sunday school regularly. I wasn't super happy about it, um, uh, but uh, but I went along with it. In those days, I believed in the church, Christmas, the Tooth Fairy, and things like that, although I had nagging doubts. But one morning I was laying on the floor. I used to like to read in those days we had printed color comics, you may remember them, but spread them out and go through them from end to end. And there was one there called The Family Circus. And in it, they showed a mother and father in the middle of the night putting money under the child's pillow for a lost tooth. And I had a realization in that moment that people might be telling you things that were not necessarily the case. So it began a kind of long journey of intellectually searching. Fortunately, I questioned everything about religion, about Christianity. I began reading the Yoga Sutras, Upanishads, the Book of Mormon, the Quran, all of them. Unfortunately, my mother, rather than trying to squash this insurrection, and engaged in many, many hours of discussion about it over the years. And so we, for a long time, went through them. And I also was in Japanese karate for uh, many, many years and introduced to the concepts of Zen Buddhism and its ethical values and meditation. And I think there, both I was drawn rationally to Patanjali and the Upanishads, and I was also drawn to the idea of focusing your mind and developing some kind of focus and control over your thoughts and refining your thinking. But around my early 30s, I started thinking that there needed to be more to it, that I was more interested in. I was originally interested in martial arts for self-defense, but I became more interested in it for spiritual development. And I thought, well, this is probably not going far enough. So I started looking around, and probably I would have been inclined to go with a Zen meditation, but there wasn't one close by. So I settled down and realized that yoga provided many of the same potentially benefits as Zen meditation. So I joined I started going to the Ananda Church in Palo Alto, which was an offshoot of Paramhansa Yogananda's Self-Realization Fellowship. So I read all of Yogananda's books and others by Babaji and the various gurus in that lineage, and learned that yoga was much more than asanas or the forms. It was also meditation and service, which Kriya Yoga is mainly focused on, kind of what is sometimes called a Kundalini Yoga, but a lot on meditation and living in harmony and community with others. While circumstances caused me to lose touch with the Ananda Church, I got married in 1996, and my wife was a former Mormon, and we both had an interest in exploring spirituality together. So to show her Kriya Yoga, we went to a talk by Paramhansa Hariharananda, a direct disciple of Yogananda, at a talk in San Francisco. And she was very interested in it, and so we followed up with a workshop in Petaluma, and we were both technical writers at the time, and we offered to help them publish their monthly journal. And the Swamis would travel around the world giving lectures and send us faxes and emails, even in the middle of the night, and wanting to call us from Germany or wherever they were. And we put together their publications for them and really developed a kind of, we had not met most of them, and we developed a kind of relationship with them. And as a result, sometime after that, Swami Pragyananda, now Paramhansa Pragyananda, and the leader of Kriya Yoga International, he came to our house in Campbell and spent the night, and then in the morning held a Kriya initiation ceremony in our home, where my wife and I were both initiated together. It was really a quite special moment, both for our marriage, and also just to be together and to just have that the honor of having the Swamis stay with us and really talk to us at our house. So we went then to their main ashram in Florida, outside of Miami, and I particularly remember there one thing which really brought it together for me, that Paramhansa Hariharananda said that spirituality is self-transformation. And for some reason in that moment when he defined it that way, I just kind of brought it all together for me. So since that time, I've really kind of stopped at least the rational searching. I began to realize that even though I'd rationally sorted through all kinds of religious, spiritual traditions and tried to logically analyze them, that it came down more to a spirituality as a personal journey. And it's really about the experience and not finding the correct explanation, but learning for yourself, learning, through your inner voice, how it works. And that it really is self-transformation, as Paramhansa Harinanda had said. So in summing it up, I think there is a spiritual truth, but no one can tell you what your spiritual truth is. You just have to find it yourself through self-reflection and experience. So that's kind of how I got to Kriya Yoga. Since then, it's been 20 years. But I thought it might be interesting just to think about that for where we start from as a trying to find answers to finding answers internally versus finding answers